Mountain ops has been a big part of our energy, not just on hunting trips, but in the office and at home. Unlock your peak performance, fuel your body with premium energy, boost stamina and focus, discover hydration at a new level with Hydrate. Hydrate is specifically crafted with a unique blend of essential electrolytes, vitamins, and minerals to help improve overall hydration and performance both at the gym or on the mountain. Visit mountainops.com to order yours today. So, how has hunting brought your family, either, your wife, because she's bow hunted a little bit, how has that brought your family as a whole together, bow hunting?
Man, that's just what we like to do. As I stated earlier, growing up, me and my dad, we rodeoed and we spent a lot of time, a lot of all night drives driving, to and from rodeos and such as that. And, we still have the same relationship. We've just shifted from rodeoing to hunting and fishing. My wife, when me and her first got together, I was gone, pretty much all fall during hunting season. I would work all year, and then during the fall, I'd go make some hunts somewhere. And she decided she wanted to hunt a little bit, and I bought her a bow, and she started practicing. And like the second time I took her out, she shot a buck with her bow on some public land out in Texas, and I got him skull mounted, and he hangs on the wall, and she really enjoyed it. It was something for me and her to do together. And it also kind of going back to what me and you spoke about earlier. All this was happening around the time that her dad was really sick, and around when he passed away, and it was just it was just a way for her to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of the 9 to 5, and really reflect, and I guess in a way grieve, if that makes any sense. Just sat out there, just me and her in the blind, and just really just kind of let her relax. And I think she needed that. I think that she doesn't hunt a lot now due to us having our little one. She told me the other day that she wants to start back hunting some, so probably this fall we'll do some hunting. But it was just a really a good time for her to to get out in nature and God's creation, and I guess kind of reconnect with that, because she grew up hunting with her dad, never was really the one to the one on the trigger, but she spent a lot of time with her dad in ladder stands and stuff like that. And after he passed, that was kind of a way for me and her to spend some time together, as well as her kind of reflect on her childhood hunting with her dad and stuff like that.
100%. And just, I wish that I could replay the thoughts. When you don't really see nothing and you're standing in that tree stand or in that tree saddle, which me and you both, well, I'm a tree saddle hunter. I think you got into it, what, last year?
Yeah, I bought one in 24, right before I went to Kansas.
That's right. Those, when you're not seeing nothing, those thoughts that come through your mind at 9 o'clock, 9:30, right before you're about to get down, that's just pure thought, and it's just way your body can relax and take a deep breath from the everyday grind and go 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 that we live in today.
For sure, man. And this is I hope you like this as much as I do. But one time when my little brother was younger, me, him, and my dad was fishing out on the Red River on a Sunday, and kids, they ask questions, and that's how they learn things, right? So, uh, my little brother, he was probably 7 or 8 at the time, and I remember him asking my dad. He said, "Dad, you think that God gets upset? That we're not at church today. We're out here fishing." And my dad said it best. And my dad has said a lot of things in my life that stuck with me, but this was one of the things that really, really stuck with me. Not saying that there's not a time and place for church, because there is 100%. I think you need to go and strengthen your relationship with God as much as you can. But my dad looked him square in the face and he said, "Son, there's a difference in being religious and being spiritual." He said, a religious person sits on the front pew of the church and thinks about going fishing, and the spiritual person goes fishing and thinks about God. And immediately that hit home with me, like, Dad, you're right. And so that's really, I talk to God a lot when I'm hunting, and do a lot of thinking, and that's cheaper than therapy. That is my therapy. Whether I'm seeing anything or not, that's where I want to be in the fall.
I couldn't 100% agree. I think I talk to God more whenever I'm hunting, and I know that's probably a bad thing, but I think I talk to Him more when I'm either hunting or in the truck or being alone by myself than I do, on a normal basis. It's something about nature that really ties you to the Creator, right? And like Phil said, and I said last podcast, is worship the Creator, not the creation. And like I said before, I think we just get away from that, and but if you can really just be in the moment. Even in hunting, anything you do, just be in the moment. And man, it's something about them woods that just that draw you back every day.
Yeah, for sure. I read a deal on Facebook, several years back, and um I want to say it was one of the guys with Mossy Oak, but I could be wrong about that. But the little quote said, you only get so many sunrises, and I don't want to miss a single one. And man, that couldn't be more true. If you sit in a if you're sitting in a cottonwood in Kansas on a November morning, or a big oak, uh, oak bottom in Louisiana, and see the pinks and the yellows and the oranges right when that sun starts coming up or going down, and you can't think about God, then I ain't nothing I can tell you to help you. Uh, that's if you don't believe there's a God, just go sit in a tree and watch the sun come up or go down, and I think you'll have a change of heart.
100%. And since doing this podcast, I got a TikTok page that I post all. Pretty much TikTok's just a highlight film, right? But I miss so much because I don't take pictures. The stuff that I take pictures about, I mean, that's lucky
Yeah.
because most of the time I don't, and I miss the shot because I'm just living in. I've missed so many sunrises on the phone as far as like capturing that as a picture because I'm just in awe of like the oranges coming off the water, and it's almost like a reflection. Like if you look at it just perfect, you don't know if it's upside down picture if you take it or if it's right side up because it's just a glass finish. And man, God can sure paint a pretty picture, can He?
Oh, no doubt, man. 100%. It's something beautiful to see, man, and I look forward to that. I see as well as you. We see a lot of sunrise or sunsets in these plants, but there's nothing like seeing them in the woods.
And then to retract what you said, I mean, one day we won't. That will be our last sunrise that we see over either hunting or fishing or it all has to come to an end. So it's just a blessing to be out there and being able to be out in the outdoors.
For sure, for sure. And the thing about it is you never know when your last one is. So I mean, you got to go every chance you get, and and just see that, and like you said, live in the moment, because one day that'll be the last one.
100%. So look, it's February of 26. We got a long way to think about it. Lottery season's actually already going on. If for those that are going to put in for your Wyoming tags, and I think New Mexico's about to open up. Colorado's going to open up soon. Kansas will open up. Do you plan on putting any lotteries this year?
Man, so I've got a couple that I might put in. So I'm sitting on 5 points for Iowa. And anybody that's ever hunted a whitetail knows that's the land of the giants. I'm sitting on 5 points for Iowa. It's the unit that I want to go in. It's taken, some people have got drawn with five, but it looks like it's been taken around six maybe to get drawn. So I'm still up in the air on if I'm going to put in for that this year or buy me another point and just wait for next year. I also bought a point for Kansas last year, so I'll more than likely be putting in there to draw. Uh, but I'm really not sure, man. To be honest, we've got some ground, and like I spoke about earlier, we've got some ground in Oklahoma, and I'm working on getting securing some more ground from the same landowner. So I know I'll be hunting Oklahoma. I'll be hunting, Texas, where I killed the deer last year, and probably end up going to Kansas. Like I say, I'm not 100% sure. It just kind of that deal just kind of hinges on my Iowa, whether I decide to put in for Iowa. Because if I go to Iowa, I've got it in my mind, and I'm going to stay there as long as it takes. So I don't want to try to have to divide up time between Kansas and Iowa. So the Kansas deal just kind of hinges on whether I decide to go to Iowa or not. But other than that, for sure, Texas, Oklahoma, and then I'll hunt at home in Louisiana.
Now, will you be able to? And I don't know the dates as far as the whitetail season. Will you be able to know if you drew Iowa before Kansas, or is it same time?
No, so Kansas is April and Iowa is May. So it'll be something that I have to decide, before the Kansas deal opens. Which there's a good buddy of mine. Well, Gavin. Me and Gavin started getting points the same time together, and we're planning on trying to go up there together. It just all depends on, I'm gonna talk to him closer to draw season, closer to May, and see kind of what our gauge his interest and kind of see what he wants to do. And it either be something we try to make happen for 26 or it might be 27. But to answer your question, Kansas is first, so I'll have to know my plan for Iowa before April.
But I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? I mean, if you put in and you do get Kansas, that's just kind of an extra point that you can put in for Iowa, and it's almost not a, it's never a guarantee, but it's a better chance if you got six, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of like I just said, I kind of when I decide to go to Iowa, I kind of want to make sure that I set myself enough time to where that's one of them tags. It takes several years, and I'm not. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young man. I don't have many Iowa trips in me, so it's kind of one of them things where when I do decide to go to Iowa, I don't want to have to try to oh, I need to kill by this date so I can get to Kansas. I want to be able to set enough time aside to however long it takes for me to kill one in Iowa is how long I'll be there.
You say you're you don't have many in you. My elk partner is 50.
Oh,
I
really?
think I think if a 50-year-old can run the mountains elk hunting, I think you at least got 60, 65 in you in
Yeah,
Iowa.
yeah, and I do, but like I said, like we are just talking about, if you just get right down to the mathematics of it, if it takes 6 to 7 years to draw that thing every time, I ain't worried about not being able to hunt at 50. It's just a matter of if it takes 7 years to draw each time, at 35, it maybe 3 or 4 trips, depending on how long, because it seems like every year it takes more points to get drawn.
Do you think
So
do you think point creep is a problem? But how would you even stop it?
I don't know if you can.
You can't, can you? Because you're really hindering people that's waited a lifetime to hunt that, and maybe they've been saving up for 10 years and they got 10 points just because they've had to save up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that which I started last year. I've got some friends of mine that live in Wyoming, and so started last year. And it might take a million years to draw over there, but I started buying points for antelope, mule deer, and elk last year in Wyoming. I've got some friends of mine that that I've worked with some that told me when I got ready to come up there, to let them know. So I'm not getting any younger. So I started buying some points to try to, hopefully go up there and get to hunt some of that stuff up there. But yeah, I mean, I think that, some of those places are really hard to draw. And I think that, you know, as we get older, your motivation, I guess you could say, to go to those places gets less and less. So I definitely think it's something that you ought to try to do while you're younger. It's something that I wish me and one of the guys I'm on the lease with in Oklahoma from Lake Charles. Me and every time I talk to him on the phone, that's what we say. We used to rodeo together, and he's like, man, we should have started going on hunts when we were 18 instead of rodeoing. He's like, we could have went a lot of places by now. I said, yeah, you're right, but just wasn't in the cards, it wasn't in God's plan, and we'll just do what we can moving forward.
But you say that though, and then you sit there and watch the NFR and stuff like that, and you're like, man, I wish I'd rodeoed. So I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's got their own little trail and story, uh, and I'm sure. your son will be the same way as what I'm about to say. Is a lot of times when I'm taking Easton, he's 9. I'm taking, a couple weeks ago we went to the NWTF convention and we've been to Max and we've been to, all over these places. He's duck hunted. He went every day except for the last week when it had that freeze in North Louisiana. And a lot of times his first time is my first time, and it's pretty special because I know that he's going to be set up, for his generation, right?
Yeah,
He's already got like a kickstart, so I think that the more, the older we get, the little things matter the most, and I think
yeah,
that's
for
what you're
sure.
kind of talking about. Is man, we only got so many out of state hunts in us, and then we're going to be just walking out the back door and shooting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in my situation, I kind of got started with, far as getting married and having kids a little later than life and some people. But I think in a way for me, that was a blessing because, of that. I'm a little bit older now and my only priority in life is, making sure my wife and son has everything they need, and I feel like if I would have had kids, at a younger age, I would have been trying to divide my time between them and, maybe running the roads and doing some things I shouldn't be doing. So, I feel like for me, waiting later in life to get married and have a son is was definitely a blessing for me because of exactly what you're talking about. I'm more conscious of what I'm doing and going to try to teach him the best ways that I know possible, anything to do with the outdoor, really anything in life, but specifically in the outdoors.
No, I think you're 100% correct. I think the being able to, the younger kids would, wish they should have waited late, and the later people wish they early. But I think everything happens for a reason. Like I said, I mean, if you really think about it, I think if you have them later, I think that's even better because you're able to, do everything you want to do, and you're not necessarily hindered down, So I think it's just everybody's own path for that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you plan on going to, you used to hunt West Texas a lot, and I know we didn't talk about it much, but do you have any plans of going back out there?
Man, I would like to. I really wanted to be honest with you, man. I really had tried to make plans to go out there last year, and between I was going to make a trip out there because I didn't draw Kansas and didn't really have any trips planned. With my son being born, I didn't put in for any draws, nothing like that. Just bought some points for a couple different states, and so I really had plans on going out there last year because I didn't really, at my place right there, right by my house, and then as well as the family land that my wife has. I didn't really have anything that got my blood pumping, as far as deer that I wanted to shoot, and we ended up picking up the place in Oklahoma, and then I had the deer show up in Texas where I killed, and so that kind of put the brakes on that. Like I say, before that deer showed up, and before we picked up our land in Oklahoma, I was planning on making a trip out there last year. And with a combination of those two things, I just never made it back. But I would love to go back out there. I really enjoy that, hunting that area, and there's a big, a pretty good sized deer herd over there and some good deer. I mean, I've sent you some pictures that, deer I've seen and deer I've killed out there. And so, I would definitely like to go back out there. It's just with everything else going on, it just makes it kind of tough. But I think eventually I'll get back out there for sure.
Well, what would you say the hardest state to hunt is that you've hunted?
Other than Louisiana,
Yeah, other than Louisiana.
uh, man, I would say, and this is just off the top of my head. I would say Kentucky, but that was just because I believe of where we were hunting. And the combination of not getting to hunt a lot. I showed up during deer season, didn't have enough time to scout. And then it was pretty. I guess you would call it mountainous or hilly where we were hunting at, which is a completely different animal compared to what I'm used to hunting. I think with a little more time, I could have figured those deer out, but you know, I didn't get to hunt a whole lot, but when I did hunt, man, I just couldn't seem to get on the deer over there. could have been the area that I chose to hunt. Again, I didn't really get to scout a lot. Like in the summer and early fall, I kind of showed up. Deer season was going, so I just grabbed my stuff and went and got in a tree. But for me, I would say probably Kentucky. Given the experience I have there, again, with a little more time, I might have a different answer. But for me, that I would say Kentucky is the one to give me the most problems.
Well, and I think a lot of it, like you just said, preparation, right? I mean, uh, the spot that we originally were going to hunt the year before, we were actually hunting over soybeans, which I even had to call the wildlife fishers and make sure, hey, can we even hunt here? Because I've never seen that. I've never seen a public land have actual soybeans planted and some clover planted for public land hunting. Which I mean, given that there was only one tree that you could actually bow hunt, but a lot of people do not hunt uh, in Kentucky as far as where we were hunting bow season.
Yeah,
There's only one or two actual processors up there that because we're working off, so we don't have like our tools, we don't have our meat grinders, nothing like
yeah,
that.
for
So
sure.
we can't process our own deer. So actually up there, the first year I went, I had to wait till they got off of work. I had to keep take the guts out, keep it packed full of ice until they got off of work at 2:30 or 3 or whatever time it was to drop it off, and then I had to shoot. We were working nights, had to shoot right over to work, just drained, from hauling it out, and that's another funny story that I'll probably cover on another podcast. But yeah, man, Kentucky's well, at least in the Appalachian Mountains. Let's put it that way, because I know toward the west of Kentucky, that's where the state record got killed and stuff like that. I believe at least for a crossbow, because I remember seeing it. But that Appalachian Mountain up toward toward West Virginia, it's tough because I mean you might be thinking you're on a good deer or a good trail, and it just drops straight off the cliff. Uh, but when me and you were hunting up there, those soybeans were gone. They turned into CRP fields, and it kind of shot our whole entire trip as far as what we expected in the dark. We had to regroup, and we were kind of catering to other hunters. A lot more people hunted that year, and we are trying to get if you want to say the boss man set up right,
Yeah.
but which he ended up shooting to 8 points, and but I hope he hears it because he should laugh about it too.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's wounded more deer than well, I'm not even gonna get into that, but But man, like I found that little top of that where that water tower was, and I'm sure somebody will pick up on it if they ever hear this podcast. But just deer were walking through there, just wasn't the quality we were looking for. But I'm not going home empty handed. I'm going to help that population out.
Yeah, for sure, and like say, and that's no knock against Kentucky. I mean, I know some people that live up there, and my dad's worked up there when he was working on the road, and he said that's he's worked all over the country, and he said that's the place he's seen the most deer ever. Just driving the roads and stuff like that. So Kentucky definitely has a big population, and and big bucks. I mean, they kill big bucks up there every year. It was just something different for me. I've had some cameras up, stuff like that, and had some pictures of some decent deer, but I don't know, man. Just the way they traverse those mountains and the way they move, I just never could get on them, and that's just like say I seen deer, but they was always 70, 80, 100 yards from me, and I mean, I remember me and you went out there one night after work, hung a lock on, for me to hunt the next day, and we were both going to do some hunting, and I just never could get on them, man. Like say, I know there's deer in the area. I mean, you killed several of them while we were up there, and and all such as that. But I just never could get on them the way they move over there. Just threw me for a loop.
And the bad part is that I guess from hunting previously, I knew what was out there. So, and I think that's kind of the decision we made to put your lock on right there. One of the biggest deer I've ever, me personally, had on camera, as far as body, horns, whatever, was in that location. And we even in 2020 we couldn't get on him, and I ended up, the last hunt of the day. We're working nights, so the time would change to where it would get daylight later, and it just wouldn't be sufficient to actually walk 2 miles back there and hunt. And I settled for that 8 point, which, man, like I said, I was pumped up about it. First bow kill was 8 point, out of state. All the odds are against you, hunting over an open field, one tree in there. Uh, but the biggest deer I've ever had, me personally on camera, was in that spot, and I hate it that it just didn't work out. It didn't work out for a lot of people, really. I mean, I think I was the only one that actually killed a deer.
Yeah, for sure. You shot that deer with a Spitfire, didn't you? If I remember correctly, NAP
The 8 point,
Spitfire.
the 8 point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I did, and I didn't know much about broadheads. I know you shot the Grim Reapers at the time of me shooting that, and they didn't have that up in North Kentucky. So that was pretty much the copycat uh, value version of it. I mean, they're not a bad broadhead. I can't say nothing about it. I've shot 3 deer with it, killed 3 deer.
No, they're
Uh,
they're those NAPs are good broadheads, and I have nothing bad to say about Grim Reapers. But going back to where we put that lock on. It's probably a blessing in disguise that I didn't kill that deer because I probably would have had to stay in there and eat him till he was gone because I don't know if we'd have ever got him out where I was hunting at.
he would have had to run toward the road.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
I and I'll hint to another episode, but I actually bought an appliance dolly to get that other one out. That's how far back it was.
Yeah,
But that was before I had game bags and all that. I was just still learning.
yeah,
But I mean, even that. But to go back to what you said, them deer almost know, like they can sense it. They know where you're at, or they know something's up. Um, Even that doe that you helped me get out, I probably shot that deer, what, 60, 65? That was a long shot.
yeah, for sure. And up there, everywhere you hunt, it's kind of something you need to pay attention to. But up there, man, as steep as that terrain is up there, thermals are a big thing, and that was maybe another thing that gave me fits is I would feel like I was set up in a good area, and I would feel like I had the wind, to my advantage and the thermals, and I would still get busted up there, and it was just one of them things. Like I said, I hope to go back to Kentucky one year, in the future and try it out again. Hopefully, I would love to go up there, and I'm not sure when the season opens up there, but maybe September, and try to kill a velvet whitetail. That's kind of one of the things I'd like to do in the future. But yeah, I hope to go back to Kentucky, in the future and try it out again because they whipped my tail up there the last time I was up there.
No, 100%. Like I said, and what he's talking about, killed a couple. I killed a couple of does that year. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it ain't like I just smoked a big one. But there was a person in the campground. I think he killed probably a 140, 150 velvet 8 point. I mean, he was a monster. He had, which, I mean, that velvet's going to give it a little bit more mass, right? But
yeah.
uh, there ain't nothing to hang. I mean, I would clear my whole wall off to put that one up. That was a
Oh
big
yeah.
deer.
Yeah, however old he was, that'd have been as old as he would have got. That's for sure.
100%. But yeah, Kentucky is tough. Just to get to the stand, right? I mean, you really have to be cautious about. Hey, I'm not going to put my big jacket on. I'm going to wait till I get to the stand to put that jacket on.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
All right, man. Well, is there anything else that we didn't cover? I mean, we covered a lot. I know we got off a little bit, but man, it was. I think it was a great conversation, and the only thing that I can say, like we got, I got Texas turkey hunting here in a couple of weeks. It actually opens March 14th, so I'm going to be in South Texas turkey hunting. But other than that, I guess it's just turkey season until the summer. We'll fish and then we'll get after them whitetail.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm ready for. I'm ready for some November cool fronts. It's not even really hot yet, and I'm already over summer. Um, I'm ready for fall hunting and to kind of let some time pass and figure out what I'm gonna do about my trips this fall. Uh, but for sure, I hope to be talking to you and sending us some pictures of some big deer from somewhere. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll have a either a mid season or right before the season recap. If the listeners don't know Jake, look him up. Do you have an Instagram or no?
Yeah, I do. I have an Instagram. Let me see here. I'm not even sure if I know What the so it's yeah it's I do have Instagram. It's JakeeyG 00. If you're looking for entertainment, that's probably not the place to go. Ain't nothing but dead animals on there.
Well,
Uh,
that's what I was elaborating too. Is we really didn't cover all the animals that I would say is trophy animals that you've killed. You know, your Illinois buck is my most remembered, I guess, because I think we just got off that job where we were working partners, and you literally went right up there and killed that deer. Uh, and I know, uh, and we could talk about that story if you want to. It's up to you, but that was a good hunt.
yeah, it was, man. I mean, I went up there with Gavin, you know, the guy we was talking about a while ago, and man, just went up there on some public land somewhere that neither one of us had ever been, and went up there and we left on a Saturday night about 8 o'clock. I met Gavin at his house, and we drove all night. Man, was dog tired when we got there the next morning, probably about 6 o'clock, and went to the Walmart and got our license and went and started scouting. And we we after we scouted, found some places we thought we wanted to hunt, and it was super hot for November. It was probably high 70s, and we hunted that Sunday, that Monday, not really much going on, and there was going to be a cool front coming through. It was going to rain all night, and a cool front was going to come through. I think that Tuesday, so I snuck into a place where I'd found some sign at. Between a cut cornfield and a place I had jumped a buck the day before scouting, and I slipped in there. The wind was going to switch out of the north the next morning, and I snuck in there and hung my set and seen quite a few deer and ended up. That was probably the first time that I had actually seen real rut activity. That would have been 2020, and at Louisiana, you kind of get the trickle rut effect. You might see, a little 4 point chasing a doe, but I had a actually, I think the deer was more mature than the deer I killed. He just didn't have a bigger rack, but he ran a doe up the ridge right under my tree, like nearby hit my sticks, and grunting the whole way. And that was probably the first like real rut activity. And I told myself right then, I said I'll never miss another November in the Midwest. Just from that, which I did last year, obviously having my son, but anyway, I had I seen some deer, and that deer ended up coming through about 9:30, and I shot him, and Gavin had to help me get him out. It was about a mile drag back to the truck, and but yeah, it was a really good hunt. And just kind of a side note, I think it's kind of cool is the deer that I killed in Kansas and the deer I killed in Illinois, uh, both come on Veterans Day, November 11th. So if anybody's listening to this and looking for a good time to go to the Midwest, I'd be in the tree on November 11th.
With the success you had on November 11th, I would say that's one to circle.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm sure that there's better dates or whatever, but both deer I killed in the Midwest both come on Veterans Day. So any time I look at planning a trip out of state to the Midwest, I definitely look around November 11th for sure.
100%. Well, Jake, man, I appreciate your time. I know that's not all the stories that we could probably cover. Uh, just me brainstormed. I could think about three or four, but I'll save those for the next time. And hopefully, we got an update on what you actually drew, what you put in for, what your preference points are, and you know, I get drawn and I still don't go, so I just waste money everywhere. So
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm kind of the same way myself.
yeah, I didn't. I drew my elk tag and wasted that $1,000.
Yeah, well, sometimes the life just gets in the way.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, man, I appreciate you stopping by and hopefully hear from you. Hopefully hear some success and can't wait to see how that boy's growing up and what the future holds for you, man. And stay rugged.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you having me on, man.
2026 turkey season is just around the corner. First Light has a turkey vest that is top of the line. The Tree Line Turkey Vest provides unmatched functionality, comfort, and durability for serious turkey hunters. Its lightweight, modular design offers exceptional versatility, adapting seamlessly to any hunting style. With ample storage and specialized pockets, it ensures all your gear stays secure, organized, and easily accessible. Whether you're navigating steep western terrain or stalking gobblers through dense hardwoods, the tree-lined turkey vest is designed to keep you fully equipped for success. Visit firstlight.com to order yours and be ready at the moment of truth.